We're back here at Teesside Autodrome preparing for our first race of the day here on Easter Sunday. It's going to be our SM Bambinos, the SM90s, to go first. Here is your grid then for this first race of the day. Zach Weston starts on pole position. Alongside him on the front row is going to be Ty Butler. Harley McCabe and Teo Collymore are third and fourth. Nathan Ellis Ward and Warwick Brady fifth and sixth. Mason Greasley and George Bowes, we spoke to them earlier, is on row four. Ruby Booth, look out for Ruby. Starting from row 5, Harvey Brooks as well. George Ward, we spoke to him earlier, starts from 11th alongside Ollie Brooks. And then it's Finley McCabe and Joseph Motzke for the 14 bike grid. Jacob, good field, good size of field for this first race of the day.
Yes, Andrew, very much looking forward to this one. A few good drivers to look out for. Tyo Collymore in, I believe, 4th place. He's just moved up from the Bambino class. Should run well in this one. And Ruby, as you mentioned, it started last year, but this is her first full year in the junior SM90 class.
Absolutely. So these drivers all between the ages of 6 and 9 years. Proper grassroots motorsport here at Teesside. And yeah, we will be getting them underway very shortly. To keep your comments coming in.
Yes, very much a family affair as well here at Club Level Motorsport. Ruby's dad is also racing, I believe, in the veteran class, Andrew?
Yep, he is indeed.
He is, yes. And obviously everyone here being between the ages of 6 and 9, supported by a strong network of their families. Most of them here with their parents, if not grandparents, and uncles, aunties, cousins, all helping out here to get the children out on track.
Keep your comments, as I say, coming in. Terry Brady. Good luck, Bugley in the 99. That is, of course, Warwick. Starting from, just going to remind myself, I think it was 6th on the grid. So, yeah, good luck to Warwick. He looked in good form earlier in the warm-up, which I was having a little watch of. Track conditions getting drier. No rain in the air at the moment as we pan around the mountain part of the circuit. This is the quite wide and fast area of the circuit as the drivers, there we go, first one of the day, riders dive down into turn 1 and then turn 2 at the bottom of the circuit. But this first race of the day in the SM Bambinos.
And we have here on the screen our grid girls from VF Racing Grid Girls. Here today in support of the BMB. Very happy to have them here.
Good to have them here indeed. So just to run you through, if you're just joining us, the same order of classes throughout the day. So it'll always be our junior SM90 Bambinos first, then the pit bike stock 160s, mini bike 140, pit bike veterans, junior SM65s, pit bike stock 140s, junior SM140s, and then the South Coast Honda Super Minis, rounding things up in each session. So they've all done qualifying sessions this morning, and then we'll have the 2 races following up afterwards. Just to have a look at the SM90s, looking back at the warm-up, Ty Butler was looking good this morning. So he was fastest ahead of Zach Weston. Zach, of course, has pole position. So it's going to be interesting to see the battle between those 2 riders, Jacob, as we go through, because that's, once again, your front row here at Teesside.
Yes, definitely one to look out for. And a number of good drivers, riders, further back on the grid. It's awkward being used to karting, isn't it? And problem drivers, and then coming along to a bikes event, where they are, of course, riders.
It's all right. I was doing it the other way round yesterday down at Wilton Mill, but never mind. So we are waiting for the race to start.
Currently not raining, Andrew. I'm not quite sure how visible rain is on the live stream these days, but currently we have relatively clear conditions. There's still clouds in the sky, as to be expected in the north of England on the 1st of April. But
what are you trying to say?
Rain currently falling. It's still a damp track. You can probably see that from the picture. But could it be drying out? We shall see.
A lot of support coming in for our riders and Watkins saying good luck, Zach. He's had a good morning so far, good warm-up and good qualifying. Dane Brady supporting Warwick as well. Thank you everybody, keep sharing the stream, get the info out there that we've got this on today. Fantastic to bring it for you live here from Teesside Autodrome.
Yes, indeed. Every share will give more exposure to the sponsors of these riders, and the more exposure they get, the more likely they are to sponsor. So every share you do increases your chances of seeing your favourite rider out in the next race.
Absolutely. So the riders now setting off from pit lane. They'll come round to start-finish. Remember, a 2.5 kilometre circuit here at Teesside. We're using the full international layout. And as we pan round, this is one of the high-speed sections as the riders come round and up the hill. This is one of those straights that's not a straight in effect. And then the riders dive into this S's section, high speed. Normally, for what we commentate on, it's one single file through there, but it's going to be interesting to see if some of the riders go side by side through those chicanes, and then it's into this tight and twisty section of the circuit. Number of hairpins before you come out onto the back straight. Although we're actually running the chicane there, you can see the red and white bollards forming the chicane, and then round the long parabolic turn, banked corner, very high speed, and then into another sequence of hairpins before the end of the lap.
Yes, very technical track here at Teesside Autodrome. It really will separate the good drivers from the bad riders, I should say. There we go.
We need
again.
a pot. We need a pot for that today.
We should do, yes. I've only got about £5 in change on me. I feel like that'll be gone within half an hour.
You can see Alan down there at start finish. Great event that he's put on here today for the start of this British mini bike season. And thank you, Luke.
Yes.
He's got us a tub.
That's
it's rather large.
Suitable size, I'd
Yes.
say, for the number of times we are going to have to
correct ourselves.
Yes. Might have to start putting items of clothing in there rather than cash.
Steady on now. Steady on. We know what you're like.
Fear not, there will be no nudity on the live stream this afternoon. Perhaps one of the later rounds.
Let's just run through our 2018 championship calendar for the ladies and gentlemen at home. Of course, we start here at Teesside today. We go to Tattershall in the middle of April, 21st and 22nd, before going to Wilton Mill for the 19th and 20th of May, as the riders now forming up on the grid. Three Sisters in June should be a great event. Llandau.
Llandau. If you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and kind of go out the side, Llandau is the double L sound. Llan.
So first weekend of July. Then we're off to Lydd, right down in the southeast of the country in mid-July. Back to Wilton Mill for the start of August, and I think we're about ready for an off here, Jacob.
Yes, races are primed and ready.
Green flag out then for the first race of BMB 2018. And they're off then for the start of the first race in the SM Bambinos. And it's a good start from pole position for Zach. He's got a good jump on the rest of the field as they hurtle down now to turn 2, the very bumpy turn 2, through the right-hander, and then immediately start climbing up the hill towards the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's a great start from Zach there as he leads the field round the back end of the track. Looking comfortable out there so far.
Then onto this long straight, that's the full-width car part of the circuit done as they head towards the S's. Field already quite strung out in what will be a 10-lap race for our riders to start their day. into this, and look how narrow that dry line is, Jacob. That's going to be very tricky for the riders if they get offline.
Definitely, Andrew. I did say it stopped raining, and hopefully will dry out, but only a thin line so far.
Here's the battle for third place then. Tao Collymore and Harley McCabe, the number 8 and the number 7. So Harley here very in the early stages of his racing. Good start for him here as he tries to challenge for third place.
Yes, around that banked back corner, the Parabolica, into the hairpin section they go.
And it's so crucial, this last hairpin, because a good exit launches you all the way down through this last part of the circuit, through the chicane and into the early part of the next lap. And look at this, a great move round the outside by the number 7 Orby. They can't quite get it done as they go offline there, but it's Weston from Butler, Collymore, then, as I say, the number 7 of Harley McCabe, and then Mason Greasley, Nathan Ellis Ward, George Bowes, followed by George Wood, Ruby Booth, and we're waiting for the Brooks drivers to come around as well. I didn't see any incidents on that first lap.
I believe we have some transponder issues. So yeah, you would have just seen Mason Greasy coming in fourth, but we are looking at the number 7 of Harley McCabe.
Here is Mason in the, or on the 28 machine, trying to fend off at the moment Nathan Ellis Ward. And Nathan trying to go round the outside down this long straight as they go into the S's. Not quite able to do it on that time around, but still a long way to go. Lap 2 out of 10 here at Teesside.
Yes, this is shaping up to be a very good battle. Two evenly matched drivers, but a few different lines through the two hairpins there. Sure to see these two battling out for the next couple of laps.
Meanwhile, Zach Weston riding off into the distance now. His lead is possibly going to be over 3 seconds. And look at that, around the outside. Great move if Nathan Ellis Ward can hold onto it. As we cut back to our battle for, in fact, this is the battle for the lead. Ty Butler in the latter part of that second lap really closed in on Zach Weston, heading down to turn 2 now. The 97 and the 35. Great second sector there from Ty Butler. He did a 1:39.934 to close the gap to less than a second.
Yes, as Harley McCabe's transponder appears to have picked up this time to show he is a couple of tenths behind Tao Collymore in the battle for third.
So it's Weston on the blue and white bike with the black and yellow helmet. Starting to pull away again as the riders find where the limits are on this circuit.
Yes, Butler was supreme in the second part of the lap last time round. Let's see how close he can get this time to Weston.
Ty Butler just biding his time at the moment through the chicane before they head up to the Parabolica into this long right-hander.
He's definitely closing up around this corner. In fact, he might even get a shot at him around the outside into the next hairpin, Andrew.
Yes, but it's very slippery as they go. You can see still a little bit of standing water through that part of the circuit. But Butler at this stage of the race definitely looks quicker than Weston as they come to the end of lap 3. It's Weston from Butler, Collymore, McCabe, Ward, Greasley, Bowes, Wood, Booth, and then the two Brooks. And that's Andrew. A great move.
Not quite. Doesn't quite have the room there to get up the inside of him.
It's very slippery through through that first chicane. Thankfully, there's nowhere near the level of standing water that we had here at Teesside yesterday during some practice, some of the practice sessions. Spectacular pictures that we saw from that practice yesterday. But it's still Weston from Butler, first and second, as they head up the hill and round the mountain once again on lap 4 here in the SM90 Bambino class.
Yes, Butler to me looks to be faster through the corners, Andrew. I think Weston's got the measure of him on the straights. That seems to be where they're differing in times, as Zach pulls away at the first part of the track, and then Ty catches up towards the end.
Trouble is, Jacob, it's so slippery offline. It's going to be very, very tricky for Ty Butler to get through. Now, this is the crucial point as they come through this back chicane.
Yes, around the Parabolica. Ty was a lot quicker last time, and you'll see now closes up on the back as they lap one of the Brooks boys. I believe that's Ollie.
Yep, Ollie doing well there to keep to one side of the circuit. Oh, and look, you could just see there, Ty pushed a little bit too hard through that first hairpin and ran wide. And that's just allowed Zach Weston to pull away a little bit again as they come to the end of lap 4. This is good from Zach Weston. He's now into the 139s, whilst Ty Butler lost out a little bit through that last part of the lap. The gap is still 0.8 of a second, but look at this, trying to go down the inside is Ty Butler. Not that time. That's a brave, brave move for Ty to try there.
Certainly thinking about it, isn't he? Meanwhile, the battle for third place still rages on. Harley McCabe now has taken Tayo Collymore for third place. He's got a 2-second advantage on him there as well. Not sure if Tayo made a mistake, but he'll be looking to come back into third place at the next opportunity.
Approaching the mid part of the race then, still Weston ahead of Butler. He's definitely got good speed through the first part of the circuit, but here is where Butler starts to close as they dive into hairpin 1, then into hairpin 2. And then onto the back straight where we've got this chicane in play today, but once again Butler running a little bit wide as they come out of hairpin 2. Meanwhile, further down the order, we've still got a good battle going on for 8th place between George Wood and Ruby Booth. And here Butler trying to find that outside line, but getting offline, just running a little bit wide there, Jacob. And Zach Weston just looks very comfortable at the moment.
Yes, indeed. He's held the lead for 4 laps now, coming up to complete his 5th. Still, Ty Butler can't seem to get close enough to make a move, although he's had a couple of looks, Andrew.
Into the second half of the race we go then, on to lap 6. Riders diving down the hill. The camera doesn't quite give justice to how steep that bit of hill is. Getting the speed down for the right-hander of turn 2 and then immediately back up the hill once again. Oh, and Zach, I thought Zach was running a little bit deep there through the almost like reverse corkscrew corner, heading back up the hill. The gap came down a little bit on that last lap. It's down to less than 0.7 of a second now.
Yeah, it's been consistently within a second, hasn't it, Andrew? Big shout out to the boys watching in Hallerton. That's Ben, Harry and Mish, as well as Josh, I believe. I hope you're enjoying your first stream of BMB. Got a very close race for you here to start off with, as Zach comes under a bit more pressure now from Ty.
Yeah,
in the twisted part of the circuit again.
Just needs to stay patient. He's got good amounts of speed at this stage of the race. Round the Parabolica again. This is where Weston's quick. He likes that outside line. It's working for him at the moment.
Definitely
allows him to open up this hairpin.
Yes, both drivers taking very different lines through this last part of the track. You'll see Ty Butler coming wide from the hairpins and also taking a wide line through them, attempting to carry more speed and find the grip in these slippery conditions.
Great battle going on for 7th place as well. George Bowes ahead of George Wood, Ruby Booth and Harvey Brooks. That's all over 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place.
I believe we've cut back to that now.
We have indeed.
Or are these our 3rd and 4th place drivers, riders? One in the box.
Just trying to catch the race numbers of the riders here. I believe this is our battle around 5th and 6th, Mason Greasley and Nathan Ellis Ward. Coming over start finish now. This is the battle over 5th position. And it's a new PB as well for Ward. Nathan Ellis Ward does a 1:46.439. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Zach Weston really starting to pull away now. 1:38.469. The gap is up to almost a second again, as we've got 3.5 laps to go. Here's Greasley on the 28 machine. Up through this tricky section uphill. It's very crucial, Jacob, to keep the speed up through here, not attack it too much, but just be nice and calm through that sequence of corners.
Yes, entirely true in these slippery conditions where it's difficult to get the power down. Conservation of momentum is key.
Into the S's they go, but Mason looking good at the moment, as the lead has just gone out to 2.5 seconds. So Ty Butler losing a bit of pace at this stage of the race. This is looking really, really good for Zach Weston in the first race of the year here in British Mini Bikes.
Yes, with 3 laps to go, Ty Butler has a job on his hands if he wants to catch up with Zach Weston, who's looking comfortable out there now.
New fastest laps of the race as well have just been put in by George Wood and Ruby Booth. The 1:50.9 for Wood, a 1:50.6 for Booth.
And again, a battle between 2 drivers taking very different lines through the hairpin section of the track.
Just see flash through shot there. I think that was the battle between George Wood and Ruby Booth. Very, very close there for 8th position.
Yes, here on screen we have Mason Greasley leading Nathan Ellis Ward. Those two are in 5th and 6th position. They are our closest riders out on track currently. And the track definitely looks from the screen to be drying. Quick peek out the window shows that it's still a little bit greasy, but conditions are improving here and lap times are tumbling.
They are indeed. Meanwhile, leaders still 2.5 seconds between Weston and Butler as they come to the end of lap 8. But here's the battle that we're focusing on. 5th place, still Mason Greasley ahead of Nathan Ellis Ward as we now cut to, now this is the battle for 8th place. This is George Wood and Ruby Booth fighting over 8th place, very close together as they go on to the start of lap 8. Booth there in the yellow and black helmet, putting George Wood under a little bit of pressure here. We spoke to George earlier.
Up at front, Andrew Ty took a whole second and a half out of Zach on that last lap. 2 laps to go. Another lap like that could see a very close finish for the win.
Could indeed, but Ruby Booth trying to just get on terms with George Wood at the moment. She's got good pace, really, really good pace through the first part of the lap. Closing in now and looking up to the inside. Oh, just a half look there from Ruby. Needing to get a little bit deeper on the brakes, but definitely looks quicker at this stage of the race, Jacob.
Yes, indeed. With 2 laps to go, perhaps she's eyeing up a last lap lunge into the parabolica. As around the outside,
that might be the leader. It is the leader.
Yes, he's pulled out a bit of a gap on Ty Butler by the looks of things. As long as he can navigate this traffic easily, shouldn't be too much of an issue for him to keep his comfortable lead.
And using the traffic well, because he's going to be able to get away from Ty Butler now, as Ty has got to negotiate some of the traffic through the faster parts of the circuit. So we'll also give the opportunity to Ruby Booth as the leaders start to disrupt the battle between herself and George Wood. We're on to the last lap now. Zach Weston leads by 1.3 seconds ahead of Ty Butler. Then it's still Harley McCabe in 3rd, Teo Collymore in 4th, Mason Greasley holding on to 5th ahead of Nathan Ellis Ward. George Bowes on his own in 7th place, and George Wood ahead of Ruby Booth for 8th and 9th, and Harvey Brooks and Ollie Brooks 10th and 11th. As round the outside, that's the leader going past another one of the back markers. Zach Weston looking in supreme form here at Teesside, heading down into the second half of the lap now. This is looking really good for Zach Weston.
Yes, for the last time he goes into the chicanes and into the hairpin section of the track. This is the first of 4 hairpins he has to navigate before taking the checkered flag. Seems comfortable, Andrew.
He does at the moment. This is a very, very assured drive from Zach Weston. From pole position, from the front row. Got a fantastic start. Absorbed the pressure from Ty Butler, and he's just got a couple of corners now to complete, and he will be the first winner here at Teesside Autodrome here on Easter Sunday. Round hairpin 3, round hairpin 4. What a win. What a fantastic ride by Zach Weston. He can see the checkered flag now. He screams for the line, and a fantastic victory. The first of the day, the first of the season for Zach Weston. He wins in the end by a couple of seconds, 4 seconds in the end ahead of Ty Butler. And then it looks like it's going to be George Bowers in 7th place, a lap down. 8th place. Oh, 8th place. Ruby Booth has taken 8th place on the very last lap of the race away from George Wood. A really good ride there from Ruby. We're waiting for 3rd place, which should be Harley McCabe, who's comfortably clear of Teo Collymore in 4th.
I did say, Andrew, I did wonder if Ruby was eyeing up her last lap lunge.
And Nathan Ellis-Ward has also taken 5th place away from Mason Greasley in the latter stages of this race.
Yes, just waiting for Teo Collymore to come through now.
McCabe finishes 3rd. Good ride from Harley.
As Harvey Brooks crosses the line in 10th, there's Teo.
Teo indeed in 4th place. Good points for Teo Collymore in this first race of the year. And then this battle for 5th and 6th, which is still raging on between Nathan Ellis-Ward and Mason Greasley. I believe they're just coming over the line now. There they are, over the line, and yes, it's going to be Nathan Ellis-Ward taking 5th place, only by 0.6 of a second ahead of Mason Greasley. Well, that was a very enjoyable first race of the day, Jacob.
Yes, some great battling up front and throughout the field for us there, Andrew. Really, really looking forward to seeing what else we can come up with today here at Teesside. A great win for Zach Weston. Looked assured out at front. Ty Butler pushed him hard. Not quite sure if Zach was aware of just how close he got, because he only had a few looks. He wasn't really chopping and changing for the lead. But yeah, I was very impressed with Zach there, and Ty looks to be a worthy competitor as well.